Route 616, your home for all things Marvel main continuity. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Route 616. This is episode 58 of the podcast. I am here with Bill and Dan. We are all here.
Yes, we are.
The schedule's gotten a little wonky, so this is gonna release on a weird day, but it's whatever. And we are back, and we won't have an episode after this for another week and a half, probably or so. But it is what it is. We have the end of the month stuff this time as well, and so we will be talking about our best and worst comics for that, and our poll list and whatever. So that'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I should probably actually get that out.
I didn't even look at it.
I didn't either. I just remembered as I was doing it.
Well, I know Bill sent the list, but I just never clicked on it.
Then, for this week's comics, we have a Sergeant Fury to open us up, and then the other 5 comics we'll be covering this week are all Fantastic Four issues, which are issues 39 through 43 of the original Fantastic Four run. If I sound weird, it's because I've been sick for a few days, so yeah.
Not only that, he's not feeling well.
Dan always with the jokes.
Always.
So I don't know if we have any nice little tangents to start with today or not, but
well,
they just ruined the national team to try to save my club team. We have that.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean,
I'm not happy about that because Toronto is beyond saving this year.
You're not wrong.
We haven't gotten a point since May. Not even won a game. Got a point.
Wow. That's not good.
It's a little dire.
They're awful. And I suffered through the 2012 season.
Well, you need Darwin Núñez is what you need.
We needed a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
Starting at the ownership and going down. Like, what's there now is so toxic that it's not going to take just changing one person and hoping it works.
Sounds like every place I've worked so far.
Well. Oh, my, oh, my, oh, my.
Most places you work probably just don't hire another Italian every time things aren't going well.
Granted, that is true. Right. But in other fun news, once we're done our little recording session here, I'm going to dive into Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh,
you poor bastard. I haven't seen that yet, but I've seen enough of the previews to know that I don't want to.
The title alone was enough to make me cringe. And I'm not kidding. I found the title cringeworthy.
Oh, that is terrible.
Right. I thought, the very first time I heard the title, I thought it was a joke. Right. It was some kind of fan thing.
Yeah, it sounds like really bad fan fiction.
Yeah. But I've watched all the others, for better or for worse. And I just thought, you know what?
For worse is correct.
Well, I've always enjoyed Indiana.
They're not all the Crystal Skull.
No. The first and the third are so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not exactly challenging cinema, but they are a blast to watch.
And the second one's not terrible.
There's a
not
couple of
nearly as good as the first two, but it's not Crystal Skull level.
No, I mean the second one starts out really, really well, but then kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
Right. And it gets into sort of, I don't know, just gets a little stupid. But and of course Crystal Skull is better. Just don't mention it. It's like that Scottish play. You don't talk about it. But I mean,
the difference is the Scottish play is good.
Granted, but you still don't talk about it.
Yes.
You don't need it.
So it's Fight Club.
That is a theater joke, Ryan.
That's a theater joke, Ryan. You would probably not get it.
No, I'm just sitting here waiting for the
But anyway, no. So I decided that I've watched the previous 4. A couple of them were fantastic film experiences. They were. I really felt like the first Indiana Jones was just coming back to what cinema should have been, could have been, should always be. And I'm kind of hoping I won't hate this one, in spite of the things I've heard about it, because I have heard a fair bit, none of it positive. But, I mean, yeah, I mean, how bad can it be? I mean, it can't be Jaws 4. Yeah.
No, but it can be Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Social Security, so that's still pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, there is that. It's quite a cast lineup, though. Toby Jones, Mads Mikkelsen. You know, I mean, how can you fail when you got actors like that in there? I mean, unless, of course, it's Captain America, then you just pretend Toby, you know. Anyway. You know, even Toby Jones still needs to make a paycheck once in a while. Well, anything you want to say there, Ryan? Mm-hmm. Bill?
Oh, I've
Anything
learned you feed off reactions, so I'm not giving you it.
I do. And I'm starving here, guys. I'm starving. Come on.
Yeah, it has been a while since we've done a podcast, so...
Yeah, let me leech something off you here. It's been a week, for God's sakes. Right? It's been a week. And fortunately, the Wolves are not in last place. You should be happy, right?
They beat Everton.
They did, well, yeah. The Horton High School team could beat Everton. Or Manchester United, as it were.
Dan is taking liberties early today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm trying to get a rise on either. I don't freaking care which one. You're both dead right now. There's zero energy coming off.
This is the danger of pop culture starting off the podcast.
Yeah, but it's still... Well, my alternative is... What else did I get my hands on that I was thinking of? Oh, the Meg 2. I may watch that instead if Indiana Jones doesn't.
It would be a higher level of cinema.
It's Jason Statham. That is not a higher level of cinema.
Then Indiana Jones 5? Are you sure about that?
Harrison Ford, Mads Mikkelsen, Jason Statham, and a bunch of B film actors. No. Yeah.
Harrison Ford's been in some stinkers, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, has Jason Statham ever really made a good movie?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah, still a B film.
Fair, but a good one.
Yeah, okay. That you know what? I'm going to give you that because you're not wrong. But I mean, that was when he was just starting out. So yeah, yeah. So it's either the Meg 2 or Indiana Jones 5. 6? 5.
5.
5.
I haven't watched them, and I know this.
We know that. We don't ask you about these things anymore. We just assume you haven't watched it. Right? I mean, am I wrong, Bill?
Oh, no. That's why I just condescendingly explained at stuff what the joke is now.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to films, right, we just, no matter what film we bring up, we just go, oh, yeah, Ryan probably hasn't seen that.
Been too busy reading Federal Man and The Amazing Man, so...
No, you've been too busy rewatching
Don't
Monster
admit
House
that
for
you're
the
ruining
20th
your
time.
own life. I seem to recall actively telling you not to tackle the expanded order at some point.
Yeah.
Learn from my mistakes. And you're like, oh, that means I need to start reading them.
Yeah, I wonder if I can tear myself away from Step It Up Season 3 to watch it. Okay, you know what? That's not fair. That's not fair.
That was a good call, man.
It's not fair, though, because, skipping over Ryan's love of, Zach and Cody and their wonderful secret life, which Bill may not actually get the reference to. But Ryan
I am aware of the sweet life of Zach and Cody, by the way.
Zach and
Not
Cody, or whatever.
secret.
Yeah, I meant sweet life, but
I'm aware of it. I've never seen an episode of it.
I did a thing last week after our conversation online.
You watched all of Step It Up to know what Ryan was talking about?
I downloaded all 3 seasons of Step It Up, and I'm going to watch them.
Wait to kill my joke by actually doing it.
Yes, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I've never actually seen it. Right, but I keep picking on Ryan, and I think it's only fair.
I've only seen parts of it, to be fair.
That if I'm going to pick on him, I at least have some good ammunition.
You're far more dedicated to the bit than I am.
Oh, come on. I mean,
I'm not watching 3 seasons of a mediocre Disney Channel musical comedy for children because I want to scorch Ryan one time.
Oh, we scorch Ryan all the time, but now at least, I can say, okay, well, I've seen this. Because, I've seen all of Kim Possible. Kind of comes
But
with
Kim
having a
Possible
daughter.
is allegedly good. I say allegedly because I've never seen it, so I can't judge.
There are moments that are genuinely funny. I wouldn't go so far as to say it's good, but there's some very, very clever bad guys in the series. And if you've ever sat back and said, the bad guys are the best part of a comic book, like the villains, Kim Possible is a good example of. Yeah, Kim Possible is a really good example of that. A lot of the villains she goes up against are hilarious, right? Some of them are just brilliant, right? And there's whoever wrote some of the series was very clever about this. But anyway, Moira loved the show, so I ended up having to watch it all when she was little because she loved it. And so, that.
Now Dan's ready to shake it up.
That's right. I'm ready to go. Because, yeah. I'm just trying to think. I don't even know any other Disney shows.
I would have to
but
Google to even go. Of course you do. It's the one thing you've seen.
I'm trying to think. Because it was...
Hannah Montana, Jesse,
Hannah Montana.
Sweet Life, San Cody, Sweet Life on Deck.
The Cheetah Girls, I think, was the series.
Yeah, that sucked. There was a Sunny show with Demi Lovato.
Now I'm just picturing a Disney Channel version of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It was Sunny with a Chance. That's what it was called. Good Luck Charlie. There's
so many of them. They just blend together, don't they?
That's so.
It's almost like they're the same show with just interchangeable actors.
Yeah, kind of like any American TV show, like Criminal Minds. The CSI.
The 19,000 NCISs that now exist.
Yeah, Law and Order, MIA, Law and Order, NCU, Law and Order, ICU, IOU, whatever.
ICU.
I've seen maybe 5 episodes
You can't
of Law
see
and
me.
Order, and it was just not that good. And
I've never watched it, so
I have. I can't criticize it if I haven't seen it. Right. Unlike a lot of these, YouTube pundits who start criticizing a film before it ever actually gets released. I do like to actually be able to say, I have seen it. Right.
Here's why The Marvels is the worst Marvel movie ever released.
Yeah, and yet it isn't released yet. And it's like, nobody's actually seen the film, asshole. How would you know?
Yeah, and Lord of the Dark World is right there, so...
Yeah. But,
Let's be honest,
okay.
Thor: The Dark World is no longer the worst Marvel movie.
No, it's not.
I haven't seen any of the new ones, so...
Or whatever the hell it is.
I'd say the last Doctor Strange or Quantumania are now the worst Marvel movie.
The last Ant-Man was really just horrible on every level.
I can't see Doctor Strange being worse than Ant-Man.
It wasn't. The latest.
It was more disappointing than Ant-Man, I think, is why I kept.
I think the Thor. I think the new Thor might end up being worse than the Doctor Strange.
No,
yes, but I haven't seen that.
I personally feel like the latest Ant-Man is an entire level worse than the latest Doctor Strange. Really, it's just on a magnitude of order worse.
I gotta catch up so I can comment
Because
on this
it's
too.
just it's so badly written. It's not that it's not visually fun, and the acting's not bad, but it's just so badly written. They right from the very first scene they go nowhere that's entertaining or interesting, and
Does sound like Ant-Man.
they just made some really baffling decisions as far as art direction goes and special effects that make you sit there going, why? I mean, when you've already done this so much better, why are you doing it worse instead of better? Like, why would you decide not to go with what you know works?
Sounds like Hank Pym, man.
Oh, it's just it was literally painful to watch. Right? I almost didn't make it through. Yeah, man. Whereas I did make it through Doctor Strange.
Okay, that's a valid point.
Right. I got right through to the end of Doctor Strange and went, well, wasn't great, but I've seen worse. I was halfway through Ant-Man, and I was literally thinking, I'm not going to get through this film. I need to turn this off. I need to pause this so I can go breathe somewhere. It was that bad. And
Dan lit up a cigarette.
No, I found myself actively hating it as I was watching it. It was so badly written.
So in that sense, I have to say it's actually a great Ant-Man movie because it reproduces the experience of the comic books.
It made Dan uncomfortable. We like it.
No, because I found myself actively hating just about every Ant-Man comic I've read so far.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like I say, I got through Doctor Strange. I didn't think it was the best film by far. It was, poor effort. But it at least entertained me. It went places that were different. It wasn't about subverting your expectations. It was about just, some writer going, hey, why don't we do this? It's different. Nobody's done this. Let's have some fun with it. As opposed to Ant-Man, where it was like, what's the worst direction we could take this in? This way. Okay, let's go. And then they'd get there and go, hey, what can we do to make this worse and stupider? Oh, hey, we could do this. Sure. They'd write that down. And I was like, why? Why would you film this story? What monkey looked at this script and went, hey, this is going to make a great film? I just don't get it. Right? I just
The
don't
MCU is
understand.
broken down.
It's just like, how could you do, like, I mean, there have been some really, really good MCU films. Iron Man was great, right? Thor wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. The Infinity War films, Infinity War and Endgame, were a great tie-up of everything, and they brought in everybody, and it was a lot of silly fun. And
yeah, because Infinity War was like a really good movie, and then Endgame was fan service to end the series.
Yeah, and the first Guardians was fun. There was no point in doing 2 and 3 because they were horrifyingly bad.
Number 2 is awesome.
The first one was
Number
good.
2 is nowhere near as good as Guardians 1.
It's way better.
Oh, sorry.
I
sorry,
barely
what?
made it through the third act of it.
Guardians 3?
No,
Guardians 2,
2.
I haven't seen 3.
Oh my God, Guardians 2 was just. Oh God, Ryan. Oh my God, you sound like the kind of guy who'd watch Monster House and think it's good.
It was
Right? No, seriously, Guardians 2 was not even close to being as good as Guardians.
It's way better.
It had some good one-liners in it, and otherwise it was a shit movie.
Yeah. Oh, it was just pointless. Right? I mean, it was.
It's a way better film than number 1.
It was like Next Generation. It was to boldly stay where everyone has stayed before.
It did nothing that they didn't do in
every
Guardians
other
1 better.
Yeah.
Except for Yondu's death. That was like the only good part of it.
Yeah,
And it had a way better villain.
Yeah, I have you. So
The
neither of you
shit
have seen
Ego planet?
Yeah, Ego was
oh my
way
God,
better.
that was horrible.
Ego was so much worse than Ronan.
Ronan
Yeah.
sucked. Ronan was a shitty
Ronan
film.
was funny. He fit the film. Like, he fit in the thematic process of the film. Whereas Egon, or Ego, or Ego, or whatever the hell his name was just this pointless attempt to justify Star-Lord's existence.
Well, that's what the movie was about.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
all it was.
It was pointless. It was pointless.
Yeah, because the first one worked, and they didn't need to justify his existence.
Yeah, right. It was you don't need to give everybody some kind of secret origin. It's like the third film. Okay, and I can say this because I've seen it. Is better, a magnitude better than the second film. Now, the third film has a lot of really tragically fatal flaws in it, but it's still better than the second film. All right. Oh my God, Ryan, shaketh your headeth.
No, I really enjoyed the second one. I agree that not everybody needs a secret origin, but if they're gonna do it, that was a pretty good attempt. Kurt Russell was a great Ego.
Doesn't make it worthwhile.
Kurt Russell did the best he could with what he was given, but that wasn't even a good depiction of Ego.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a very accurate one, but for what they were going for, it was fine.
Well, okay, to be fair to Ryan,
it wasn't an accurate depiction of Star-Lord's origins either. They just made up a ton of shit. So for what they made up, it was really good.
Yeah, but when Dave Bautista says I need to expand my acting horizons, that's a bad sign for the film.
Dave Bautista's smart.
Right, when he goes, okay,
and a surprisingly good actor.
Yeah,
this is not a good use of my talents. You got to sit back and go, wow, we're talking Disney territory. I mean, we're talking really bad MCU territory.
I mean, they're synonymous at this point, unfortunately.
Two of my favorite things. No.
What, Sin and Anonymous?
Why do we have him on this podcast again?
Anyway, I think it's time for some comics.
No, it's really not. Anyway, I haven't gotten any good soccer. I got one good soccer joke in. All right.
Well, today we're going to start off with Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos number 18. This one is titled "Killed."
No synopsis. So now that we've done Sergeant Fury, let's go on to Fantastic Four.
This one's titled "Killed in Action." Stan Lee's writing this bad boy. Dick Geyers is on the art. Chick Stone's on inks. Jack Kirby and Chick Stone on the cover. Artie Simic on letters. This is a March 1965 release date, a 20-page story, and I will try to make this synopsis as painless as possible, which shouldn't be easy because really there's only one thing that matters in this issue. From the cover, it's a pretty decent cover. We get to see all the... I like the covers where there's all the characters on the sides and stuff, personally. It's very old-fashioned comics. We are promised that somebody dies in this issue right away, and this whole issue is pretty much revolving around and teasing the fact that somebody's going to die and trying to figure out who it's going to be and blah, blah, blah. Hopefully and they're leading us along. It is not. But the issue starts out, they're in somewhere in Britain or something, and Nick's with his girlfriend,
London,
Pamela
now known
Holly.
as somewhere in Britain.
Okay, it's London. Okay, who the hell goes to London for anything, right? 81,000 people would never fill an arena. Anyways,
I was starting to think you were Vince McMahon. Oh, it's some little place in Britain. No one cares.
Yeah, Nodnell. Could be Nodnell.
So Pamela
we are
and
the smart party.
Pamela and Nick escape like a bombing, and then Pamela says she has to go and help out on a she's a nurse for the army. She's got to go help out, and Nick's going on a mission. Him and the Howlers get sent on a mission. Where the fuck do they get sent in this? I don't know.
Norway.
Norway, thank you. They get sent to Norway. They're tasked with bombing some, I believe it's some new super weapons that they have to stop from getting out or something.
It's one ship.
It's one ship, okay. They have to stop a ship that has whatever on it that they gotta stop. And pretty much this is teasing throughout the whole issue. They have a certain amount of time till I think it's Dino has to blow the charges, and they all go overtime, but Dino waits for them because none of the Howlers return in time, so he's giving them as much extra time as he can. And we're just teasing like who's gonna die because we know somebody's gonna die, and it's pretty suspenseful and fun throughout this. Fury is almost killed after he gets on the ship as a Nazi commander sneaks up behind him, but he manages to save himself, and he saves himself by jump. He ends up jumping in the water after knocking the guy in, and the guy takes his dog tag that. Means a lot to him because, well, not his dog tag. It has it has dog tags, but his chain also has the ring on it that he had bought near the start of the issue for Pamela because he's gonna engage the Pamela. So Fury gets his ring back for Pamela and ends up living, and he sees a couple other Howlers. All the Howlers end up making it back. They make it through the mission. Everything's okay. They all get back to base. Fury's all happy and cheery because he's gonna go propose to Pamela. And Happy Sam tries to tell him something, but he's rushing off. He's like, "Oh, I can wait. I gotta go see Pamela." And then the Howlers are told the news that Happy Sam tried to tell Nick, and we see Nick has gotten to the estate of the Hollies, where her grief-stricken father is waiting for him at the door, and stops Nick to let him know that his daughter, Nick's soon-to-be fiance, Pamela Hawley, has died in service.
Soon to be? So he's going to...
He was going to propose to her. That's why he refused to listen to anyone.
So
because he's like, I need to go do this
going on here. So is that going to be the next Sergeant Fury movie? Sergeant Fury and the necrophilia mania quantum thingy? You know, because he's married to a dead woman. There's zombies everywhere. That's how they got into the Marvel zombies. I get it. Fury marries a zombie. I gotcha. It's okay. I'm with you.
Just wait until we get the ultimate Fantastic Four.
Ew.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was an issue of Sergeant Fury that I personally enjoyed it. But I like this. I like when things go darker and
I like when things go darker, but they fucked it up.
Well, I'll let you explain that in a sec before I say I really enjoyed this and gave it a 4. So now I'll let you explain why you gave this a 3 or less.
I gave it a 3. I mean, it was fine, but it could have been great. First off, they shouldn't have said someone dies on the cover. Because as soon as they said that, the first scene with Pamela gave away who it was. It was painfully obvious from that moment that Pamela was the one dying. Even now, I had been spoiled on this, so I might have been somewhat primed to know she was the one that was going to die. But I saw other people on the site we used commenting that the intro gave away that Pamela dies. So I don't think that was it.
No, I figured it out. I figured it out right away too before I knew. I didn't read the synopsis, so.
And then the mission to this, the reason I emphasized it was one ship they had to blow up was because everyone for the entire time talked about how easy this mission was. And the Howlers were never in any real danger the entire time. So they didn't do good at all building any suspense that anyone other than Pamela could die. Like, the whole time, they're just like, oh, this is a super easy mission. You're not going to lose a Howler. But which one dies? And then, so the only really... So that stuff was fine, but it wasn't good. And the only really good part was the last 2 pages when they got back and Nick was in a hurry to go propose and everyone's trying to stop him and he's blowing them off and refusing to listen to what they're trying to tell him because he has to go propose to Pamela right now. And then she's dead. Those 2 pages were great.
I'd almost say they're brilliant.
Yes, they are. But the rest of the build was so bad.
But why did Fury get engaged to a dead woman? Well, I mean, seriously, why?
I was a little more forgiving of the trying to make fake suspense. I enjoyed it more because it was the best part of the. Besides the actual 2 pages and stuff, and it's pretty obvious it's gonna be Pamela because he's gonna propose to her and all this stuff, but I thought they did a fine job. The mission and the story there itself was a little lame, but the bits of suspense they tried to create was kind of fun.
I don't mind the mission being lame because that wasn't the focus of the issue.
No, that's the point. The point is...
I mind them trying to build suspense about one of the Howlers dying on the mission, and then them actively in the book saying that the mission is lame. If it was just, go destroy this ship, it's really important. And then, the mission goes off the same way and they don't really have any trouble because the focus is on the drama with Pamela dying. That would be fine. The problem is Happy Sam tells them it's a nothing mission. Fury tells them it's a nothing mission. 3 or 4 times on the mission, they comment on how easy the mission is.
To be fair, I think it's supposed to come across as overconfidence since they almost get fucked up a few times at different points.
See, I found they were in less danger than other issues, so it didn't work as selling overconfidence to me. It just seemed like they're telling us that this mission isn't dangerous, we don't have to worry.
No, I think they did a poor job of conveying how they probably wanted to convey it, and I think they had too many pages to work with.
That's possible. I mean, it would almost be better if they just focused on the air raid. Like, if all the Howlers were with Fury and Pamela, they had the air raid.
This almost would have been a case where it would have been better as a 12-pager.
It would have probably been, because their padding really weakened it, I found.
But yeah, that covers my thoughts on the Sergeant Fury. I mean, like I said, I actually really enjoyed this one. So
I had fun reading it, but I was expecting the issue where Pamela died to be closer to Amazing Spider-Man 121 than any other random issue of Sergeant Fury.
Fair enough. The part of your disappointment might be in the fact that you expected more from it too.
A common mistake when reading Marvel comics.
But anyways, we can move on to Fantastic Four now with issue number 39. This one is titled... By the way, the site was on my side for the last one because it was a 3.88. Just wanted to point that out. A Blind Man Shall Lead Them, this one's titled. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby on this bad boy. Frank Giacola on inks. Jack Kirby on cover. Artie Simek on letters. April 1965 release date, 20-page story. And Dan will take this one away for us. Take it away from me. I wish you did when I was reading it.
Alrighty, brace yourselves, guys. Here we go. We're dive into
brace myself.
Fantastic Four. And Ryan's just going to lay back and fall asleep.
That's what I wanted to do when I was reading this comic.
We'll poke him with a stick when we get to time to talk about it.
Yeah, we're Daredevil's little blind man's walking stick. Okay, continued from last issue. Having survived the Q-bomb set to explode by the Frightful Four but lost at sea, the Fantastic Four are pulled from the Pacific by a U.S. Navy submarine crew. Taken to the infirmary, Reed talks in his sleep about their defeat at the hands of their evil counterparts. When the Fantastic Four finally awaken from their ordeal, they are shocked to find that the radiation from the Q-bomb blast has stripped them of their powers. Upon their return to the U.S., Reed conducts a bunch of tests that prove conclusively that they no longer have their powers. And that's the end of the story, and let's move on. No more Fantastic Four. I'm happy. What's next?
The rest of Fantastic Four.
Oh, God damn it. I tried.
We've got nothing but Fantastic Four to fill this episode, Dan.
They could have just ended it here, right? You know that, right? They could have just put us all out of our misery. Yeah, unfortunately, there's still 3 paragraphs to go.
The worst part is I don't disagree with you. I didn't like this issue.
Yeah. Upon their return to the United States, Reed conducts a bunch of tests that proves conclusively they no longer have their powers. Fearing their enemies may strike them when they are at their most vulnerable, he begins designing technological replacements for their powers. Johnny is given a flaming suit. Why don't you just pour lighter fluid on him and light him on fire?
Because Reed still wants to get some from Sue, and incinerating her brother probably isn't the best path to that.
Yeah, well, let's not go there with Sue. Okay. Ben is given a robotic duplicate of his thing form, an electro-vibro suit for Sue that gives her a protective force field, and mechanical limbs for Reed that can extend. However, these devices have a massive learning curve, leaving the team to wonder if they will ever be ready when their next foe attacks them. Meanwhile, in Latveria, Dr. Doom is being entertained by a hypnotist who reveals that Doom's perceptions have previously been altered by hypnosis.
Remember that?
When the hypnotist reverses the mental block, Doom realizes he was tricked into thinking he had destroyed his enemy, Reed Richards. Deciding to get revenge right away, Doom leaves at once for New York City. Dum, dum, da, 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 dum. While back in America, blind lawyer Matt Murdock, after his walk of shame from boinking She-Wolf or She-Hulk or whatever...
That comes later.
That comes later, okay. I can't tell.
Man, Dan's just mixing up the canons now.
Oh, boy. Well, one Quantum Mania in every universe is the same now, isn't it?
Yeah. He hasn't even done the walk of shame from boinking his drug-addled former secretary yet.
Yeah. Murdoch meets with the Fantastic Four to sign some power of attorney documents. He is shocked to find the Fantastic Four have lost their powers and are testing out their new mechanical devices. Suddenly, they are attacked, and in the confusion, Murdoch slips away to change into his costumed identity of Daredevil. The FF and Daredevil soon see their attacker, Dr. Doom, who has landed his craft on top of the Baxter building. Their foe then sends the Fantastic Car after them. Abandoning their mechanical devices, they are led away to safety by Daredevil into a nearby tenement building. They are soon flushed out by Doom, who unleashes a whirlwind device that demolishes the derelict building. After knocking out the whirlwind with gas tanks, they continue to make their way to their headquarters. When Doom unleashes a flying force beam projector, whatever the hell that is, Daredevil puts his life on the line to destroy it. He then provides a distraction by trying to reach the Baxter building by tightrope walking across the line to the building. The Fantastic Four try to sneak into their headquarters. And this story is continued in the next issue.
It sure is. So, I had problems with this one. First off, okay, well, the one thing that wasn't a problem. The one thing that wasn't a problem is Daredevil was actually kind of good in this one. He's actually probably the best part of this issue.
He's definitely the best part of this issue.
By a lot. How's that a problem?
It's not. I said what isn't the problem.
Oh, okay.
But the problems I do have, big continuity error, because Fantastic Four had given up Matt Murdock as their lawyer when he failed to survey the Baxter building in Daredevil #2. Which I plainly remembered in the issue that he took on Mysterio or whatever.
Now that you mentioned that, I do remember that, and I never remembered that either time I read this.
I've been waiting to say this till we got to it because I've been holding on to it. So that ruined it partly for me. Secondly, this is the Fantastic Four's return in the Order after losing their powers, and it's just very lame, everything that goes on with the power loss stuff here, in my opinion. But it does make Daredevil look better, so there's a give and take there a bit. And this is also Doctor Doom's return after being hypnotized, which is also kind of lame. So this just had a lot going against it for me, so this is why this one gets a 2 from me. But Daredevil was actually good in this, which is kind of rare, so I guess we take the small victories.
This might actually be one of our biggest gaps in ratings. Because I gave this a 4.
Sight's more on your side, technically.
Yeah. I had forgotten that the bit about Daredevil not being their lawyer anymore.
I'm really good at continuity stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I would have cared either way if they had just come up with another excuse or so for him to be there. Because heroes bump into each other in New York all the time. It's not a big deal.
Especially when they're blind.
Yeah, exactly. I actually liked the bit with Reed trying to rig the gizmos to replicate their power, even though it didn't go anywhere. That was kind of fun. Like, Ben blundering into a building and knocking half the building over on himself because he couldn't control the thing robot and stuff was pretty funny. I loved the fact that the heroes needed to be saved in their own book. That's almost unheard of in the 60s for the heroes to not be the heroes.
I just don't like power loss stories, especially this early when there's so many of them done. They're not. I don't like power loss stories because they're always resolved poorly.
Yeah, I usually don't, but this one worked for me.
I do like Daredevil having to save the Fantastic Four.
Normally I'm like, just hurry up and give them their powers back because I know they're going to get them back, so the drama doesn't work. But this time it was actually kind of fun.
I just didn't really enjoy Doom here either. I don't think he's that good in these couple issues.
Doom could be anyone. It being Doom adds almost nothing to the story. Except for one little bit in the next issue, which can't be counted towards this one.
Yes, I think I liked him more the second one, but I'm not.
It's not even Doom himself. We'll cover it when we get to it.
Yeah.
But the next issue contains one of the darkest moments in the Order so far. Like for Silver Age comics, it's extremely dark.
Speaking of, let's get to it then.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four number 40, The Battle of the Baxter Building. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby here. Vincent Coletta's on inks this time. Jack Kirby on the cover. Artie Simic on letters. May 1965 release date. 20-page story yet again. Dan, take us away.
Oh, yay. Okay, The Battle of the Baxter Building. Written by Stan Lee. Dr. Doom has taken over the Baxter Building in an attempt to get revenge on the now powerless Fantastic Four, who are rushing the building along with their ally, Daredevil. Doom launches a mobile TV eye. I as in EYE.
Yeah, it's a drone.
A drone. To try and locate the members of the Fantastic Four among the crowd of New Yorkers below. Quick thinking, Daredevil converts his billy club into a one-bullet shotgun.
Yeah, you remember that whole thing about him climbing across... You remember that whole thing about him climbing across the wire to the building while the rest of them tried to sneak there? Because Stan sure doesn't.
Apparently. Speaking of drone...
And don't worry, Ryan. That's nowhere near the most egregious use of the cane in the Order.
Oh, there's a lot of egregious use of the cane. I just forgot about it, and Dan's reaction was great.
Yeah.
I hated that in the comic.
Oh, I hated that too, but you haven't
Daredevil's not as good in this one.
You haven't seen close to the stupidest shit they pull with that cane.
Okay, so he cocks his cane and blasts the TV eye out of the sky before leaping onward. By this point, Johnny and Sue have commandeered a taxi cab and picked up Reed. and that they're rushing the building in a taxi.
I mean, it's New York
Wow.
City. It's probably one of the easiest ways to be unnoticed. There's 5 million of the things everywhere, and they're all driving poorly.
Yeah, where's Sam Jackson when you need him?
Not in the order for another 40 years.
Yeah. When they arrive at the Baxter building, obviously needing a cab to rush the building, they find the police have cordoned off the area. They are allowed to access the lobby but are instantly attacked by the various defenses in place that are now under Doom's control. However, while Dr. Doom is distracted with the Fantastic Four in the lobby, he is unprepared when Daredevil sneaks in through one of the windows. While Doom is distracted with Daredevil, the Fantastic Four are reunited with Ben, who is the Fantastic Fifth. They take the elevator up to their headquarters. Doom tries to stop them, but the FF manage to escape the trap thanks to Daredevil's continued interruptions of Doom's attempts to kill them. Needing to get something from his lab, he sends Sue, Johnny, and Ben to help Daredevil distract Doom. Reed recovers the stimulator that was in Sue's night dresser. Wrong stimulator. Recovers the stimulator he used on the Skrull home.
Ah, fuck, the battery's dead.
Don't look at me, it ain't mine. Doom. He uses it on himself to restore his powers.
And then he uses the one from the Skrull homeworld on everyone else.
Yeah, there you go. Except for Sue. He uses it on Sue and Johnny, who use their newly returned powers to keep Doom at bay. Why didn't he just do this before?
Because the device was in the Baxter building.
Yeah,
There's too much effort to get there.
Apparently.
This is what I had issue with the power loss stuff.
Yeah, Doom tries to incapacitate the group with a freezing device, but the torch uses flame powers to cause the machine to explode. As Doom flees into the next room, Reed has no choice but to use the Energizer device on Ben, despite his protests. Poor Ben. Transformed into the Thing once again, Ben follows after Dr. Doom and stops him before he can activate a powerful weapon that will decimate the entire block. Furious over his recent transformation, the Thing pushes through various traps and weapons at Doom's disposal. When Ben finally gets his hands on his foe's hands, he crushes them and then disables all the devices on his armor with his bare hands. With Doom humiliated and defeated, the Fantastic Four allow him to limp away. Really? Who's knocking?
Oh no, my uncle's being loud.
Oh, okay.
This is why I like recording in the afternoon.
Sure. With the battle over Ben shocks. With the battle over, punctuation would be good, wouldn't it? Ben shocks the whole team by informing them that he is quitting the Fantastic Four, having finally become fed up with always getting the raw deal in the group. And for some reason that nobody knows or gives a rat's ass about, this story is continued in the next issue.
Yep.
There you go.
I like this one more than the last one. I gave this one a 3.
Really?
There's parts of this that are weaker in ways. There's some really stupid shit that happens in this issue, but the overall story is better. Daredevil is bad with things he does, but is still good character-wise because he's fighting somebody in Doctor Doom from underneath, and Daredevil's always at his best when he's fighting from underneath and is the underdog. Ben's transformation is done well and tragically. I don't know. That's about it.
Okay.
Most of this was good, but the big thing for me that elevated this issue was at the end, Ben fucking crushing Doom's hands.
That is pretty dark.
Yeah, that was good.
Because it's not, and don't think this is some cop out. He crushes the armor and Doom's hands weren't in it. Because in one of the issues coming up, we see I think it's literally the next one, but I don't remember for sure where it falls. We see Doom waiting for his hands to recover because he had all the bones in them broken.
Wow.
Like, for them to pull that in the Silver Age was pretty crazy.
That's why I said Ben's transition was done well. And he should be pissed off, and it makes logical sense. His actions all make sense.
Yeah. No, this is one of the better times they've handled Ben's relationship to being the Thing. Because he has a tendency to flip-flop a lot based on what drama they need for the story. But this time they handled it pretty well. I gave this one another 4. I think it probably would have been a 3 if it wasn't for Ben crushing Doom's hands at the end, though.
Fair enough. Well, moving right forward with issue 41 of Fantastic Four. This one's called The Brutal Betrayal of Ben Grimm. We have Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, of course. Vince Colette is on inks this time. Jack Kirby on the cover. Sam Rosen on letters. June 1965 release date. A 20-page story. And Bill will take us away for the rest of the stretch.
Alright. Having grown tired of constantly being the fall guy for the Fantastic Four, the Thing has decided to quit, brushing off the protests of his teammates as he leaves the Baxter Building headquarters. Needing a way to get out of the city, Ben stows away in the back of a pickup truck that is heading out of Manhattan. Falling asleep, they say in the cab of the truck, but it's in the bed of the truck, Ben accidentally rolls out as the truck drives through the New Jersey wilderness. Suddenly, a beam of anti-gravity lifts Ben off the ground and carries his sleeping body to a nearby house. After freeing himself from the Jersey Devil...
Yeah.
Meanwhile, inside the Baxter Building, Reed goes over the damage caused by their battle with Dr. Doom with their landlord. As they begin cleaning up the mess, they are visited by Alicia Masters, who has come looking for Ben. When she hears that Ben abruptly left the group, she gets upset. The group consoles Alicia as she cries over the fact that Ben left without saying goodbye to her. While in New Jersey, the Thing has been taken prisoner by the Frightful Four, who have him pasted to the floor. Because Pete got excited. After the group squabbles amongst themselves over leadership of the group, the Wizard informs them that he has developed a means to make the Thing a member of their group. Back in New York, the Fantastic Four begin searching for clues to Ben's whereabouts, until they hear a report about the truck that he was seen riding in. The FF travel out to New Jersey, but the search is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. As the search goes on, the Wizard has his new id machine attached to Ben's head. He explains the device will alter the Thing's personality so that he is evil and loyal to the Frightful Four.
I like it. This is good.
Yes, this is actually a really good arc. While the experiment is ongoing, the Trapster and Sandman come to blows, but are stopped when the Thing emerges loyal to the Wizard and breaks up the fight. As they rejoice over their victory, suddenly they notice flares being fired outside, and they quickly deduce that the Fantastic Four are out looking for their wayward teammate. When the Fantastic Four go canvassing door to door, they are attacked by the Frightful Four once they reach their foe's hideout. During the battle, they are shocked to see that Ben is fighting by the side of their enemies. Unwilling to use their full strength against their friend, the Fantastic Four are quickly taken down by the Thing and the Frightful Four. The Wizard then has his minions place each member of the FF in a trap that counteracts their powers. The Human Torch is put in a harness that will douse him with water whenever he tries to flame on. The Invisible Girl in a large plastic bag that will counteract her invisible powers. And Mr. Fantastic is placed on a board covered in the Trapster's paste. It's almost like he's Epstein.
Yeah.
With the battle over, the Wizard puts the Thing to sleep. When the Sandman and Trapster try to kill the Thing, their attempts fail. Medusa steps in, stops them, points out that they can use him to do their dirty work, and recommends that the first thing they get, the thing to do is kill his former teammates. When they awaken the thing, they remind him that it was Reed Richards that caused his transformation into the monster that he is today. As the thing's rage begins to grow, the Frightful Four begin enticing him to kill his best friend and leader for causing his transformation. The story continues in the next issue.
I like this one quite a bit. I give this one a 4. I think this arc with the Frightful Four is better than the two-parter we just covered personally. This is really fun. A lot of people might not have liked this because of the hypnosis/mind control aspect with the Thing, where his personality's changed. But I think they do it really well here, because after they sap him with the personality changing thing, Ben's personality change is hilarious. He's just
Thing is so good, and it's not that big a personality change. Like, that's why it works. Because he's still Ben. He's just, what if Ben was a complete asshole?
Yeah. Just pop a cigarette in his mouth and he's ready to go. And it's pretty funny. I think he had a hat on too or something. But
yeah, he had a hat on and he was smoking a cigar.
It's the Dick Tracy thing.
Yeah, and he's old and he's curmudgeonly and he's complaining about the MCU and Spider-Man all the time.
Oh, so is Dan. And also it started here that there's the subplot of the hierarchy of the Frightful Four, where Medusa and the Wizard are kind of starting to butt heads a little bit for control, and that's a pretty fun subplot too.
I really liked this one, but not quite as much as you. I gave it a high 3, because while it was really good, there was nothing about it that made me think I was going to want to reread it ever, and that's usually my mark for taking it higher than 3. Like, 4s and 5s are like, I would read this again, and I don't mind reading it a second time. Like, I had fun reading it again, but it was just a really good Fantastic Four story. It wasn't a great Fantastic Four story for me.
I'm fine now with that. So let's move on to 42, which is titled "To Save You, Why Must I Kill You?" Spoiler alert, nobody dies. Stanley and Jack Kirby. Vince Coletta does inks on this issue. Jack Kirby's on the cover. Sam Rosen on letters. August 1965 release date, 20-page story, and Bill will take us through this middle issue.
Alright. The Frightful Four attempt to goad their brainwashed pawn, the Thing, into killing his best friend, Reed Richards, for causing the accident which transformed him into the monstrous Thing. Regaining consciousness, Reed finds himself stuck to the large board by the Trapster's pace, and at the mercy of the enraged Thing, who's only holding off because he doesn't want to touch the Trapster's paste.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Johnny Storm manages to flame on at his highest intensity and therefore vaporize the harness which has been rigged to him that would have otherwise doused him with water. The Torch then frees his sister, the Invisible Girl, from the massive plastic bag she is trapped in.
So was it a
this
twist
time they
tie
don't
or
even
a
try to
Ziploc?
sell that the plastic bag does anything other than be a plastic bag.
Okay.
While the Torch and Sue battle the Frightful Four, Mr. Fantastic tricks the Thing into shattering the board he has been glued to, freeing him. This does not save him from the Thing's wrath, as Grimm easily overpowers Richards and then crams him into a small metal urn and jams the lid on tight. That is pretty great.
It is a very fun moment, actually.
Yeah. Sue and Johnny are soon outnumbered. In order to allow his sister to escape, Johnny lets off a flare to blind their foes. But although Sue manages to get away, Medusa douses Johnny's flame by soaking her hair and then wrapping him in it. Whereupon the rest of her team incapacitate him. Meanwhile, Sue finds the urn Reed is trapped in and flees outside to try to free him. With the battle over, the Wizard remarks on how savage the Thing is and how difficult it is to control him. While the others are squabbling again, he subjects the Human Torch to the id machine, seemingly making Johnny Storm evil. Or exactly the same.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, outside, Sue manages to use her powers to pull the lid off the urn, freeing Reed from captivity. However, both pass out from the strain. Well, Sue passes out from the strain. Reed passes out from the fact that there was almost no oxygen left in that jar by the time she got him out of it. When they revive, they chance on an equipment shed in the grounds of the mansion. They ambush the Frightful Four, tagging them with the Wizard's own anti-gravity discs, which they have coated with the Trapster's paste. I'm getting the feeling everything in this house is coated with Trapster's paste.
Yeah, well, the Sandman don't turn on the black light.
Please no. While the Sandman, Medusa, and the Trapster are busy floating away, Reed grabs the thing and flees. The Wizard and the Human Torch follow, but the Wizard becomes frustrated by the Torch constantly getting in his way. However, before Reed and Sue can escape with Ben, Johnny traps them behind a wall of flame. And that's the end of this issue.
I gave this one a 4 as well, which I actually didn't remember doing, but this is a lot of fun to read. I'm enjoying this arc. Fun read. Yeah.
This is a really fun read. I've quite enjoyed it too. One of the things I liked the most was the fact that they actually let Sue do stuff in this arc.
Yeah.
Like, she saves Reed's life in this one, unironically.
And she doesn't just pass out because she's a girl. She passes out from strain from using her powers.
Yeah, because it's a metal jar that Ben has warped together using his strength, and she manages to force it apart with her invisibility powers.
Yeah, it was actually, like, logical.
Spoilers, that's not the last time Sue is incredibly useful in this arc.
So yeah, I gave it a 4.
I really liked this one, but it's still got a 3 for me. I think part of the reason this one's not breaking any higher is it's not really threading new ground. It
doesn't have Daredevil.
Leave my crush out of this. But no, this one's not really treading any new ground. We've seen the Frightful Four a bunch. This is their best use so far. By a lot.
Oh yeah, the Frightful Four are actually really good in this arc. Like, genuinely really good. This is why I kept
saying they were good earlier. But yeah, they used them really well, but they're not doing anything new. Ben's not doing anything that new. He's always been grumpy about being turned into the thing, and he's almost turned on the team a couple of times without being affected by a machine. So this is just a good Fantastic Four that does things I expect from a Fantastic Four.
That's fair enough. But Ben hasn't smoked a cigarette and worn a hat.
I think he's done both of those not evil.
Yeah, but not together.
Fair.
I just had to throw that out there.
You're not wrong. Maybe you are. I'm not going back and checking.
I don't remember, but
neither do I. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go look. That sounds like
off the top of my head,
effort.
I'm going with it. Oh shit. Well, let's move on to the last comic of the day, Fantastic Four number 43. Though There Shall Be an End, and this one is titled.
Please God, yes.
Stanley and Jack Kirby puts the letters on inks again. Jack Kirby on the cover, Artie Simic on letters. August 1965 release date. 20-page story. And Bill will take us away.
Alright. After rescuing the brainwashed Thing from the Frightful Four, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Girl flee from the Wizard and his other seemingly brainwashed thrall, the Human Torch. Well, when they escape in Johnny's car, the Wizard decides to break off pursuit and free his other Frightful Four teammates, who were taken out of the fight with his own anti-gravity discs. After the Wizard and the Torch get them down, the Frightful Four realize that the Torch has deliberately hampered them when they tried to harm one of his former teammates. Reed and Sue return to the Baxter building, where the Thing begins to fight back. They quickly subdue him with knockout gas, and Reed begins the long task of trying to find a cure for the Wizard's brainwashing process. Meanwhile, the Wizard and Medusa inspect the id machine and confirm what the Wizard suspected. Someone tampered with their machine during the battle, and the Human Torch has only been pretending to be under their control. They ambush the Torch and knock him out so that the Wizard can prepare the final phase of the revenge against the Fantastic Four. Okay, so they just completely skipped over the other part where Sue's good in the synopsis because she told Reed earlier when they were escaping that she had disabled the id machine so that Johnny wasn't under control. We were supposed to know he wasn't brainwashed for that entire sequence.
Oh.
At the brainwash,
like anybody cares.
At the Baxter building, Reed has finished constructing a device that he hopes will revert Ben's personality to normal. But when Reed activates the device, it overloads and explodes. Reed rushes to pull the control helmet from Ben's head before he is permanently harmed, with Sue throwing a force field around him for protection. They then drag Ben into a nearby bed where they can only hope that he will awaken cured. At the Latverian embassy, Dr. Doom inspects his hands and finds that they have healed after his last battle with the Fantastic Four. Doom is furious. Doom is furious over
Doctor Strange could never.
Doom is furious over such an ignominious defeat, but he has already planned a suitable revenge as his emotion changer ray is complete and ready to use. I don't think that ever actually comes up again. I don't remember it. Back at the Baxter building, the Frightful Four's anti-grav ship lands on the roof and the villains begin infiltrating the building. Reed completes his tests and concludes that the thing has been cured, just as the Frightful Four ambushed them. The Wizard shows Reed and Sue that he has Johnny trapped outside on a massive anti-gravity disc. The Wizard then threatens to send Johnny up into space to suffocate unless the Fantastic Four surrender. See, right there we're doing bad storytelling because now everyone wants the Fantastic Four to not surrender.
Oh, I'm okay if they surrender.
But if they surrender, Johnny doesn't get launched into space.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess we're supposed to care, but...
Yeah. When Reed tries to save Johnny, the Wizard and his cohorts show that they mean business. The Wizard then gives Reed 10 seconds to surrender. However, before this time is up, the Thing awakes and attacks the Wizard, rending the villain's armor with his bare hands. That's the word this person meant. Destroying his anti-grav control unit. As Reed and Sue attack their foes, Johnny is able to break free from the now deactivated disc and join the fight. As the battle rages, Medusa decides to retreat. The Torch sees her but fails to prevent her escape in the Wizard's anti-gravity ship because Johnny is thinking with his hormones. And that's not me making a joke. That's actually the reason.
Okay.
Medusa pretty.
Yeah. With Medusa's departure, the survivors of the Frightful Four are easily subdued. But when Reed telephones the police to have them send an officer over to collect the prisoners, the officer on the phone thinks it's a prank call. After Johnny leaves to drop off their foes with the authorities, Reed and Sue check on Ben and welcome him back to the group. Ben is surprised by this after the hatred he displayed earlier, but Reed points out that Ben couldn't help himself and he is welcomed back to the team.
This one's the highest rated average on the site, but I think it's the weakest of the arc.
Yeah, I don't get why this one's so high a rating. It's definitely the weakest of them.
It's decent and good at parts, but it's kind of one of those situations where it's just we gotta get the story concluded.
I still enjoyed this one. Like, I still gave it a 3.
I did too. I gave this one a 3. I just didn't give it a 4. I didn't like it like the other ones.
I gave it a 3, but it was obvious from like the second page when Sue said that she had destroyed the id machine. Basically, every beat of the story was predictable.
Yeah, I don't really know why Johnny stayed with the Frightful Four after he saw them get away.
He was...
But I guess he was just
to keep an eye on the Frightful Four so that the rest of the Fantastic Four could come back and capture them.
Yeah, but you're one guy, so it's kind of a dumb move to risk it.
I don't have a problem with that because Johnny is dumb. Like that, and that's not me slagging on Johnny like I usually do. that's actually in his characterization. He's a teenager, and he thinks and acts like a teenager. He let Medusa go because he was thinking with his hormones. He stuck with the Frightful Four instead of escaping because he was thinking with teenage machismo, where nothing will actually go wrong.
That's true. Fair enough.
Like, it's actually good characterization for Johnny, the choices he made.
Yeah, it is consistent. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a bad comic or anything. I still like this one. It was good. It just wasn't as good as the previous ones, I don't think.
My big nitpick for this one, too, is how easily Ben rejoined the team. Because he wasn't evil when he quit.
Yeah. That was another issue I had when I originally read it, too, but I forgot here.
Like, he should still not want to be on the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that should still get dragged out for at least another couple issues or something, but...
Oh, I think the reason it didn't is because the next time we see the Fantastic Four, it's the wedding issue, and they need him back on the team and happy for that.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah, so that was Fantastic Four, and that was the episode, but the episode's not quite through yet, because we got the end of the month activities. The poll list is going to be really fast, because I think Bill's probably not changed theirs at all.
I actually have made a change to mine.
Oh, okay, what's your change then?
I am adding Tales to Astonish with the start of Namor.
Oh, I thought you already had it on there.
No, I hadn't added it because we didn't do any Namor last month, and I wasn't adding it for Hulk until Hulk actually got good.
That's right.
And we were actually covering the Hulk stories.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing too. That's my change for this month, is I'm adding Tales to Astonish as well because of Namor. So yeah. And that's the poll list.
Before we go over our best and worst for the month, we should probably run through what we're covering next time in case Dan wants to bail and go watch his shitty Indiana Jones movie.
What we're covering next week.
What we're doing next week
will be all Hulk all the time as we cover Tales to Astonish issues 60 through 65 B stories. And I hope you like Hulk because Hulk takes the next 2.5 episodes.
This is
I mentioned how it would probably take me
run.
2.5 episodes to watch Indiana Jones.
It's a very long stretch. It is
It's 15 issues, I think.
16 issues, I think.
Yeah, because there's the one at Avengers in there. That's Hulk related.
It's 16 with the Hulk, yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes with
It's 15 Hulk
Avengers.
and then one Avengers stuck in there.
Yeah. So yeah, 16 altogether with that.
Yeah.
So that's next week. So yeah,
Yay.
the Hulk is
Alrighty.
back. But
just in case anybody cares.
If you want to see if Hulk's doing any better than he did the first time. So best and worst comics of the month. Bill's going to run us through what. Excuse me. Bill's going to run through what we covered this month.
Yeah, I'm going to bail before you guys get into this.
I figured you were going to want to.
Yeah, because I'm not going to jump into that poll. I don't really have any preferences on any of them.
It's tough to do when you don't actually read them. The synopses are not always fair.
No, they're not. To be completely honest, synopses do tend to miss stuff occasionally. So, you guys enjoy, and we will see you next week.
See you next week, and enjoy as much as you can, given your options of cinema tonight.
Yeah. Well, if next week I will give you a rundown on what I thought of. I'll have watched both of them by then, so I will let you know what I think.
I suspect both of them are going to be bad, but I'm interested to see if I'm wrong on that.
Well, the first Meg was amusing. It wasn't great, but it was amusing.
It was objectively a bad movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The special effects were good. That counts. I mean, it wasn't up to, sci-fi standards, but I mean, it was no six-headed shark, or Santa Jaws, but I mean, it was a shark, so it counts.
Well,
Arkansas Women's Prison Massacre,
I still haven't seen that one.
Oh, you got to see that one.
I need to see that.
One. Yeah, okay, so after I've watched these two, I'll go watch Sharktopus. You guys have fun.
We will
have a good one, Dan.
Do.
See you later, guys.
See ya. All right, so now for the rundown of the actually not terrible comics we covered this month.
Well, mostly.
Yeah, there were some low spots, but overall the order's getting better.
I think most of the low spots were like in 1 week, but
They were. Anyway, we start off with Journey into Mystery 122, a story where mortals fear to tread. This is the Absorbing Man and Thor some more. Journey into Mystery 123, a story where a universe trembles, is the Absorbing Man in Asgard this time. Then we get Journey into Mystery 114, B story, The Golden Apples, which is Little Red Riding Hood. Journey into Mystery 115, B story, A Viper in Our Midst, is Thor and Loki fighting a storm giant. Journey into Mystery 116, B story, The Challenge, is Loki trying to trick Thor into getting enslaved. Tales of Suspense 66, A story, Here Comes the Bad Stuff, is If I Fail, A World is Lost, where Iron Man fights Atuma. And then 67, A story, Where Walks the Villains, is when Tony's hallucinating his former villains. And 68, A story, If a Man Be Mad, is more of the same, now with added aliens. Then we get Tales of Suspense 66B story, which is the origin of the Red Skull. Tales of Suspense 67B story, Lest Tyranny Triumph, is Captain America getting brainwashed by the Red Skull. And then 68B story is The Sentinel and the Spy, which is that random Captain America story about the guy with the melty ray.
don't remind me.
Tales to Astonish 68A story, Peril from the Long Dead Past, Giant Man versus the Human Top, now with less shrinking powers. Tales to Astonish 69A story, O Wasp, Where's Thy Sting, which is the second half of the breathtaking Giant Man Human Top battle. I think he's calling himself Whirlwind now, but I couldn't be arsed to go back and check. So I called him the Human Top in my notes.
And that title's an actual line that's in the story too, to make things better.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'll admit it. I'm okay with dead naming Human Top. Tales to Astonish number 70A story, the start of the quest. This is the beginning of Namar's quest, and that runs all the way to 76. Then we get the stuff we covered today.
Perfect. So, like always, we'll start off with our worst because we gotta try to end on that high note. Bill, hit me with what your worst was first.
Tales to Astonish 68A story. The Tony being hallucinating because of the Magia guy, Cat Nefaria, and then aliens as well because they had to make Tony be right.
Yeah. If this wasn't the last time we were going to see Hank Pym for a while, I probably would have gone with the Iron Man issue with the aliens and Morgan Stark. But since this is our way out and I still hated the shit out of it, I went with the other Astonished issue with Giant Man, which was 69. So we covered all the bases this month.
Oh no, mine was Suspense.
Oh, yours was Suspense.
Wait, I never mind. I looked at the wrong one to see what it was. 68. Yeah, it was Giant Man versus the Human Top. It is Astonish I have. I said it, Astonish and thought Suspense when I was reading it, but no, it is Astonish 68. And looking at what that one is, that is the one I meant to pick.
Yeah, I zoned out what you said and was thinking of because I looked at what you picked, so.
Yeah, it's just that the titles are so close and they were both terrible that I got confused.
Yeah, so Bill picked Astonish 68 and I picked Astonish 69. We both said farewell to Giant Man in our loving way.
With a giant fuck you.
Pretty much. So, our best of the month. We actually have the same one, because like I said, I looked at what you picked. Chose Sergeant Fury 18. I was surprised that Bill chose this one, because Bill liked the Fantastic Four more.
I enjoyed the Fantastic Four more. Objectively, the death of Pamela Holly was both so important And those last 2 pages were so well handled that I had to say this was the best comic we covered this month.
I knew the last 2 pages would have played a big part in your choice. The last 2 pages is one of those moments where you genuinely feel something reading a comic that is legitimate and real. And more of that feeling comes in the next issue, which you haven't read yet. But when comics can make you feel...
I'll get to it in like 3 weeks when we finally get through Hulk.
When comics can make you feel like that, it's pretty special. So
literally,
that's
the
why
only other time I've had it reading the order is, like I mentioned when we're covering it, Amazing Spider-Man 121 when Gwen Stacy dies.
Yeah.
There have been other deaths in comics, but they don't hit that way. Because this one and that one do the little extra special stuff to make it to twist the knife a bit instead of just, oh, this person's dead, move on.
Yeah, when comics can make you feel a genuine sense of dread and grief along with the character, it's pretty special. And that's part of the reason why I think the next Surgeon Fury is also so good, because as you'll see, like when they can take a comic and take a character and actually do a good job at portraying what grief can look like, it's pretty astounding.
I mean, they did this one well enough. I actually had a hard time enjoying that first Fantastic Four when I read it again this time, because I read it right afterwards and I was still feeling empty from
That
Fury.
might be part of the reason I really didn't like the Fantastic Four, first one, because I read it right after.
The first time I came in, I wasn't doing World War II, so I hadn't had Pamela's death. And I'm just like, yeah, this is really fun. We're doing all this goofy stuff. It's like the good parts of old Fantastic Four. And this time I'm just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, after the dose of gritty realism, that's probably part of the reason I didn't like the Fantastic Four, because the errors and the lameness that I talked about, and then I read it right after, so...
Sometimes it's good to walk away from the order for a bit, I think.
Sometimes it is. But sometimes it can go the other way as well, where something is better.
There's been stuff I've enjoyed way more than I should, because of what it came after. Like that first Namor issue.
Yeah.
I when I was reading it, I'm like, this is some 5-star stuff, and I had to slow myself down and think about it, just because I was so happy it wasn't Giant Man.
Sometimes it goes like that, too. Or sometimes it's just you're on a good streak, and the good streak keeps going farther than it should.
Yeah.
That can happen, too. It's all about perspective sometimes.
It is.
Yeah, that was... I like our selections this month. I think they're pretty good.
It was pretty close to a 4-way tie for worst comic.
Yeah.
As illustrated by the fact that I picked the wrong one when I was covering it and didn't notice for a while, because that's also a comic I hated.
The last 2 Iron Man and the last 2 Giant Man, and actually I would even say it was a 5. I would throw a 5th one in there with, because I really hated that Disintegrating Beam Captain America too. So
I didn't like that one. I didn't hate that one.
I hated it more. I hated it, unlike you. I genuinely did not like that one. So that was, I had like a bottom 5 this month. But yeah. But that was this episode. We went a little longer than normal, but we did have quite a tangent at the start, so that's okay.
We were on a long tangent.
Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Sorry for me being sick. Hope I don't sound too awful, but if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, even share if you'd like to if you're on YouTube. We're also available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you're on Spotify, click that poll. Let us know why Daredevil's your favorite superhero.
I was going to say why the best thing about this issue was Paste Pot Pete leaving his paste everywhere.
There we go. That works. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next one, whenever that shall be. And
have a good one, everyone.